not going to do it. No one's going to give it to you. What do you want this for? Who are you trying to see? What life do you want?
So as I've been doing this documentary, it's just been me. And my mom decided that she wanted to tell y'all some things that I didn't want to tell y'all. So we're just going to make this one raw and uncut. You know, it's featuring mom. So it's my mother. This is who raised me. She played both parts, mother and father. My dad has been active in my life, but you know the mother is the one who's always around 24/7. So this is mom.
Well, I just came to tell little bits and pieces of when I found out that it was greatness in Joe. From a kid, he always tried to help people, build teamwork. Was the type of kid that ran around the neighborhood, got all the kids together to play sports. So as they grew older, I made a decision to move from Oakland to Antioch to give them a better outlook on life, to introduce them to something different. He was real successful in sports, played on a lot of football teams, and when we came to Antioch, I really seen him being challenged. The first day of school, when he started Deer Valley, 3 days later he came home with 3 kids. Dennis, Aaron, and Maja. Those are my other sons that y'all see around. Y'all mostly see Maja a lot. But he brought them home from school. And from that point on, I was like, what is these kids doing here? And he like, well, mama, they gotta live here or whatever. So I didn't meet Dennis till one day I was in the kitchen doing hair, because I was doing hair from home, raising 3 sons, not familiar with the area. I decided to work from home. So one of my clients was like, why is it a extension cord going from your kitchen to the backyard? We go out there, they done built a house for the Dennis, because he didn't know if he could bring a 3rd person in. So they had a little tent, he had a little TV out there, a mattress, cover, and the boy had been living in the backyard. So talked to the young man, took him to his grandmama's house. She was elderly, really couldn't raise him, so she ended up, we got an attorney and I got guardianship. Ended up going to court, getting guardianship of him. So then, now I have my oldest son, I have Divine, his 3 friends, and Malik, and I'm a single mom. From that point, we lived in Long Tree Estate, which was a really nice neighborhood, and the house we lived in was brand new. And the white people really wasn't allowing me to live there in peace, raising all these young men. So it was a stressful situation, because every other day they was calling the police on them. They were saying I was selling drugs. How could I afford this type of house?
She was at some point.
How could I afford, no, that was after the fact. How could I afford this type of house and these kids or whatever? Because they was from Oakland. So, you know, they played basketball in the street, football in the street or whatever. They was just regular boys. And that's why I say, in order to, when you move certain places, you have to renew your mind and gain a different mindset. I couldn't come to Antioch with an Oakland mentality, so I learned that real quick. So during that process, like I say, they was good in sports. We went up to Deer Valley. I got them on a team at Deer Valley, and by them being real dominant in what they did and being great at it, they just started pulling people positions, and it was more so like a riot, because the parents weren't having it. They was used to their comfort zone. They wasn't used to these little young, what they consider to be thugs, but they was just aggressive and good at their craft. So we had a lot of drama, you know, trying to get them in position. There was a lot of politics behind it, and certain things, for me being from Oakland, I handled in an Oakland mentality. You know, called a couple of people to come up there and check the coaches and all of that. So as they grew, I had to grow, because I started seeing things transpire in their life that I wasn't going to be able to assist them with. Because now they 15 and 16, they're going into manhood. So now they're being challenged by the guys from Pittsburgh and different cities, now coming to Deer Valley and want to test they Oakland, you know, the Oakland in them or whatever. So at that point, I found myself running to this place, that place, because they getting jumped here, and I'm jumping out the car and fighting with the kids and all of that, because that's all I knew was to protect as a mom. But then doing that whole process, that's what brought me closer to God. So at that point, I had to find a church and really allow God to start nurturing me and teaching me how to be a single mom and raise young men, because it wasn't really no examples for them of men, because I was very careful of the type of guys I dated around them, because I knew it had to be somebody they respect and they would listen to. So during that time, God was my only source. So as I was going to church, they was going to church. So the mentality didn't stop at church. They be at church and see the guys who they done got into it with. They in the church parking lot fighting, and there was a lot of, like I say, stress trying to maintain a 6-bedroom house. And, with these kids that just came in, trying to do hair and really not have no other resources. During that time, we was on Section 8. Had Section 8 for about 4 years, but I couldn't, really fit in their guidelines. That just wasn't me. So really trying to make things happen for them and keep them on a positive path. And they end up going the opposite way. They end up really having to prove themselves. So at this point, then that's when the guns got involved and it got real serious. And Joe ended up being on an ankle monitor. So during the process of him being on an ankle monitor, that's when my tough love as a parent came, because it was like, how do you save your child when he done tapped into that anger part? So every time we went to court, like every 90 days, when we go to court, the judge say, how he doing? I'll be like, he better, but he ain't ready. So that was my only way of getting him mentally prepared to get back to a place where he was balanced. So every time we went to court, I tell the judge, he's doing much better. His grade's good, but he ain't ready. So after us going to court a couple of times, and the judge keeping him on a monitor, and then he had to abide by those rules. Then his brothers, Maj and all them, they had to line up, because there was certain stuff he couldn't do, certain places he couldn't go. And from that point on, he found out that it was purpose for his life. And that's when he transitioned. We finally went to court. The judge was proud of him. He got on the sports team. He was playing ball. He was doing his thing, enrolled in college and all that. And they took him off of the monitor, and the judge gave him they was giving him letters of recommendation, the coaches and everything. So he finally got off the ankle monitor from that, and from that point on, he just been elevating, trying to, save a community, help people, stay focused, and going to the college. Then he got his brother and them going to the college. They started working. So at that point, I really started seeing how God works when you line your life up with his will, because they could have went either way. I could have been going to the jailhouse, I could have been trying to bail them out. But when I surrendered my life to God and started being that example, then they had to respect the rules. We had to sit down and really talk about them coming from a lifestyle of no one never option, because being in the streets, making that money, they had anything they wanted, desire, or whatever. It was Christmas was every week. So being in that lifestyle and moving to Antioch and had to find structure, there came a time when I had to go back and explain to them about my life, how I had to grow up without guidance and had to find my way or whatever. But as a team, we was going to transition and turn this situation around. So for me to tell them that, I had to be consistent in my walk. So that gave them a chance to make better choices.